Fifi lava whaatalo whaatule nei tula o le fiafi, alo mai e se whaupunga foile nei o lau Samoa Taulogologo. La tomo atia tatou tala, e toa lua se fuluwalu suafa i la tou, ua whaaido aloa ia e whamanueine le suenga urufale, mo le avanua, e au tawinai le kode se whawhaife au i malua, mo le tau samafou, a wale soifua whaonga aina mo le ngaluenga, ma le tala le dei a keriso, le a whana na se kone, mo sa tatou report.
E toa lua se fuluwalu suafa i la tou whaailoa aloa ia le whaamanueina, le suenga urufale mo le avanua ia au tawinai, e kolisi whawhaife au i malua mo le tausanga fou. A wale soifua whaongaina mo le nganuenga ma le tala le leia keriso. E peo na masangi ai i tausanga taitasi. Le mae aio le asu sapa e pae o le whanau. Le taimitonu lava lea e whailoa ai le lisi o e wa whaamanueina mo malua. E peo fo ina whailoa ai le asu ananafi. Bao i la tau e lua sifuluwalu wa whaamanueina e au fiai, Amelika tui malatu, Apia Sae, Eisho Daniel Tauti Epa, Queen Selani, Clifton Costa Sae, au Aukilani, Tene Yaso Walter Whanolua o Waimaunga, Whaitaunga aloa ina o Maalua, Fatutolo Tuisunga, Niusa Welese, Fereti Faifua, Victoria, Hamatapu Ete, Faleata, Heti Leilua, Manukau, Yafeta Tafuna Ina, Niusila Isaute, Yefata Afatia Afualo, Laumua Aotearoa, Hurricane Whaamau, Apia Sae, La Faile Lapi, Whaasale Le Anga, Leilua Whaamate, Queen Selani, Malai Tele, Ailoilo Welese, Whaasale Le Anga, Manu Tutuila Lasi So'oalo, o Hawaii, Molesi Sangapolu Tele o Hawaii, Misela, Leuluniu, Whaasale Le Anga, Moalia, Chromatic, Semitoni, Laumua Aotearoa, Nicholas Nanaisio, Queen Selani, Nomeneta Alapati, A Ana, Race Inlet, Yose, Manukau, Sosopo Mosi Ayafi, A Ana, Tālaia, Regino Tālaia, Niusa Welese Sisifo, Tavita Arona, Maalua, Toi Upu Kaisara, A Ana, Toi Whaumasani, Niusa Welese, William Malingi Finau o Victoria. E peana sila fia lo lua ila asanga leo le wala awina e au tau il kolisi whaafaife au i Maalua. Ai ai le isi la asanga e au na uia i la tau ne to luas fu malewalu. Na ia wha ato ato ailo la tau wala awina mo le ulufale ato le kolisi whaafaife au. O tapene nei la tau nei mo le tau tinonga e wha tau taia lea ta maole e ka le sia wha potpotonga Congregational Samoa. Na ia mautinoa le anga wa au i la tau mo le au tauina le ngaluenga le tua. E au fia le tau tinonga le nei nisio vaenga mo o mia e pele report le fōmai, wha pele report e leo leo. Le ia mautinoa le anga waa o e wa filifilina. Le tau sanga e tasi walu fasu malfa, na amata whaatuina i le kolisi whaafaife au i Malua, ale e ka le sia wha potpotonga Congregational Samoa. O wale au tauina au na tutofia le tua, mo lana tala le lei. Le whana le se kone mo lau Samoa Taulogologo.
O le aso sa whaatautai ai se sauninga whaapitoa, a le malo au whaatase le Pasifika, i se la whainga pa anga ma le malo o Samoa, e sai ni aloa ia e tu tau wati na e fia whaaleleia, mo atu motu o le Pasifika i lesi 5 tausanga lumanai, e amata atu i le tausanga lua awhelua tolo i le lua awhelua fitu, o se atelenga le nei o le report. O le aso sa whaatautai ai se sauninga whaapitoa le malo o whaatase le Pasifika, i se la whainga pa anga ma le malo o Samoa, e sai ni aloa ia e tu tau wati na e fia whaaleleia mo atu motu o le Pasifika, i le isi 5 tausanga o lumana i a matasu le lua awhelua tolu i le lua awhelua fitu. O au iwi umasatu uina mai le malu o whatase le Pasifika i le asona leila. E whaidoa mai ai ni vahenga au tu e tai ala i nai whatinonga o ngaluenga. E fesosoani ai mo le anga i lunga o le atunu ina ia au sia atina e nga whatau ni maina. E atangi ai ngaluenga o mawhai una langolango ina e le malu o whatase le Pasifika. O atu motu e Pasifika e au fiai Samoa ni we matoki lau. O le nei sauninga sa amataina e se sauninga alotu taitaina le sunga le whaafenga inga ia a mosapohua. O le ofisa sina le matanga luenga o le waa i whaafo ma whaatawa inga. A fionga pese tāno mea simi sa whai masui o le malo. E whafonga ina se saunuanga autu mo lea whaamboe moe tāua. Sa ia tā uai o le whaamboe moe mo lunga le malo o whaatasi mo le nei tausanga. Ia mauti noa le te le o se suinga o le a matalia nei mo le si 5 tausanga o whaatuwini nei. A matatu le lua whenua tolu i le lua whenua fitu. nai lo le 5 tausanga tanuai. O le fuafuanga sa amata fata oto mai lava i le tausanga lua fese fufitu, ma ua mata wina le te le o le sawa le malu o faatasi Pasifika. I tangata Pasifika, mai le se furu faa territory ese ua mawhai o na apatu iai le fsosoani tahua. O le President malu o faatasi Pasifika ia Dr. Simona Marinescu e sana saunuang, na ia ta ua i faapea. O lo iai se faa moe molunga malu o faatasi, e ala ina ngadulu e faatasi so o se faavai. I tu e whelangulango ma ia ile isi atu motu ile isi atu motu. Ina ia mautinoa o lo o aonga la tunga nuenga fsosoani o lo fsosoani mai iai. Mola ta ilima tausang. Ina ia iai se suinga ma seanga i luma o Pasifika. O le ngalulu e faatasi e whaingo fiai o no tatu wula malolo ina. E pei foi ona whamatu ina mai nisi o mea whainga luenga whaangaina. E atu motu ta itasi. Pone atina e ina o tātou noto i whale mana si o manga. O le nau nota inga malu o whaatasi e Pasifika ina ia o ngāne fsoswani. Ina ia atina e ina le leia i le ola malo loina o tangata uma. Taptaire ki tiona, molau Samoa taurunga. Hoi nisa tātou tala, o se ainga fole nei inisio maluenga whaawa o le tō manga mo e popo ngātia mali UNICEF. Le whana nai se kone o se tātou report.
O loo whaawawina pea por kalame o manga mo e popo ngātia, i se la whainga paanga ma le UNICEF. Le whatalatala noina lea o nisi o alafua, e whata oto mai sa ili ininga ma whaasoa inga. I le whatalatala noina lea o alafua e whata oto mai sa ili ininga ma whaasoa inga. O lo mawhai o na maua mai nuu mawhio anga whiriwhilia. A wale whaalau te leina o le malama o nuu mawhio anga. I a wala e fufoa nisi o whaafi tauli. O lo o awhia i le whanau. Ai maisi o la fonga whaalumaluma e whaongai nei upenga ta whailangi. E a awhia i langona o nisi ma o ai ini a awhia nga tūnga. O le soifuanga. Sa whaalia le tarifia mai o le awhio anga solo. Na ua awhia le polo kalame. E ala le whaasoa mai o manatu a noa malelei. E popo waina mata opu. Sa mori mau nisi o nei whaafi tauli manatu whaatau wa alawa i ele to atele. E pe o la fonga i lunga i upenga ta whailangi. Ai tele lava so na awhianga. Whaapena foi le wao mātua ma whanau, tā awole tala noa i upu file mō, e li liu e seina i leita. E ei lawa taimi tutupu whaafita auri, o le lefe malamala mai. O moli le whaamalo le presidene ma le pulenga, mō ngaluenga whaawau a wale manuia o tangata umosio tātou watu nuu, le whananai se kone mono Samoa taunungunungu.
O le awhai sina tātou malolonga pupu o na tuata liu mai lea, molinga ngana wha Britania. Gonna have some short commercial break, then we'll be back.
E a awhianga o fia Samoa I matangi maa whaa. O ia awhianga, e a mata mai a November, e o atu ia a perila. A o le io o I ia vaitau, e te taua na niko sauni. Si a kilo mota, po o marupui puia. Wha mamale rotoa, mai mea e ono lea I matangi marorosi. Wha angatanga au o taugatanata I le whale, ma waia e le tise. Wha mamana vai e whaititia I awhianga mai rolonga pe a te tele ti munga. Tā pena me tau mawhatu apa a toa ai ma se le tio ma maa mori wira whana au mo me ti ngā le tino po le first aid. E whaatala lau e le ofisa o le wha aitau, la pata inga le le tio, TV, ma le internet. Wha o ngā lau papa plywood. Po apa to whale, e pui ai whamalama. A wale tu I mawina, ai wha awanoa se ala savili, e mawai se ea I to tonu o le whale. Taso se maia mai le tawarunga o le whale, no noa ma wha amau le lei, a wale tu ua mea mamafa I lunga o le whale, o na e ono pa u, I matangi marorosi. Wha atutumu whangu ma uro vai, ma wha apuna vai tau mafa. Te pē whangkesi, ma mika e le tise. Ia no nofo le lei to tonu whale, a whai ele o le lei ma ato o tono whale, a ngā iroa I nofo anga maurunga, ma saunga le mū. O a whae mafua mai ailo longa, manisi whawhita uri, tau mamao mai vai tafu, au wanga ngau papa, male ngatai whale. Po le saunga le mua lo ainga, ta pena sauni manofo silafia, pui pui, ma whaatino lapata inga.
Awane e misia, lunga lo wala ata le EFKS TV, i poa so lua vai aso taitasi, le polkalame, ba ili le anto ponopona, le afo le balu le afiafu.
Lewa fire lava la we fire le po ila video call malau phone call elo sa me wa besi ai
ele ai lava se isi si le atu le tu la fono
lai lucilo confidence elo iso confidence lai so to
o le manyengia ele o se fa mai e ono pipisi atu I se tasi
ai sa mo fa mar siaira o ino le ngan sa mbo tonu a onga mai university
so ta inga ole ulutala ma me tupu tato sio manga toso mai nei vaenga nei tonu e fa malo se tato le to fina wa
e te tau ona fa wa wina pea le talia o le olden for o se full pasene o tina mata maita.
When you are given a topic, make sure to spend time in research.
Ia e tau nu ai le ngana tamaiti e le ngase le uso le o.
Just keep your faith and search for the fountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over.
Good evening and welcome back to another edition of your TV2 News for tonight. Leading our bulletin, Malua Theological College has revealed the names of the 28 students who have passed its annual entrance exam and now have an opportunity to enter the White Gate next year as theological students. Lefana Naisegone with more on this report.
Malua Theological College has revealed the names of the 28 students have passed its annual entrance exam and now have an opportunity to enter the White Gates next year as theological students. The names of the 28 students were officially announced yesterday, as it usually revealed after White Sunday. This 28 includes Amelika Tuimalatu Apie Sae, Aisho Daniel Tautiepa, Queensland, Clifton Costa Sae, Auckland, Eseneyaso Walter Fanolua, Waimaunga, Faitaunga, Aloaina Malua, Fatutolo Tuisunga, New South Wales, Fereti Faifua, Victoria, Hamatapu Ete, Faleata, Heti Leilua, Manukau, Yafeta Tafunaina, New Zealand, Yefata Afatia Afualo, Laumua Aotearoa, Hurricane Fa'amau, Apie Sae, Lafae Le Lapi, Fa'asale Le Anga, Leilua Fa'amate, Queensland, Malaitele Ailoilo Welese, Fa'asale Le Anga, Manututuila, Lasi, So'oalo, Hawaii, Molesi, Sangapolutele, Hawaii, Misela, Leoluniu, Fa'asale Le Anga, Moalia, Chromatic, Semitone, Laumua Aotearoa, Nicholas Nanaisio, Queensland, Nomeneta Alapati, Ana, Raise Inland Yose Manukau, Sosopo Mose Ayafi, Ana, Ta'alaya, Reginald Ta'alaya, New South Wales, Tavita Arona, Maalua, Toi Upukaisara, Ana, Tuifao, Maasani, New South Wales, William Malingi Finau, Victoria. It is understood the 28 candidates have to go through another process called the Tautinonga, which is conducted by the Elders Committee to test behaviors, attitudes, and characters of the candidates. They also have to get clearance through the submission of their medical and police reports to ensure they are eligible. Once all that is done, the students will be addressed as theological students and enter the White Gates next year. Malua Theological College was established in 1844 with the objective of teaching and educating local students so that each village of Samoa would eventually have an educated pastor as a spiritual leader. Leafana Naisekone for your TV2 News.
Today, the Pacific United Nations, in partnership with the government, held a special ceremony for signing the endorsements of the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework for the Cook Islands, Niue, and Tokelau for the year 2023 to 2027. Here's more on this report. Today, the Pacific United Nations, in partnership with the government, held a special ceremony for signing the endorsements of the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework for the Cook Islands, Niue, and Tokelau for the year 2023 to 2027. This was a welcome framework that will outline the key elements to guide the implementation of the work to assist country progress further in achieving the Sustainable Development Agenda. As well, it reflects the UN support in the Pacific and acknowledges the UN continuous assistance to the region to assist in its work in achieving the Sustainable Development. The intention this year for the new cooperation is to make sure we have the highest level of endorsements in each country, as many things has changed over the last 5 years. The ceremony was led by Pastor Amos Sapoua for a spiritual word, followed by a keynote address by the Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Pesitano Miasimi, who attended to represent the governments, and she said,
"The cooperation framework outlined in the document before us presents the instruments and tools for planning, implementation and monitoring of the development activities of the UN in Samoa, Niue and Tokelau. It is our understanding that the framework was formulated in uncertain times, and I think we all understand that. And although we've just come out of COVID-19 with the opening of our borders in August, challenges still remain and must be considered in progressing with the framework at the national level. The 2030 Development Agenda, with an emphasis around people, prosperity, planet, peace and partnership, remains relevant to us only if the implementation of these global frameworks are tailored to address our unique circumstances, our priorities, and address the challenges we face in Samoa and in the Pacific. These priorities are reflected in our long-term regional strategies, such as the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, endorsed by Pacific leaders earlier this year. Our national priorities place great emphasis on human development, by which we've carefully formulated the pathway for the development of Samoa, and in doing so, we have looked at tailoring our SDGs to suit our national context and what we face at the grassroots level.
The strategy was adopted on 2017. Without doubt, those have been the most eventful 5 years of Samoa's 21st century for people living across the 14 territories. The UN President Dr. Simona Marinescu, in her speech, stated that the United Nations aims through the cooperation framework, through every cooperation framework, most particularly this one, to ensure that people rights and freedom and prosperity as much as possible in the middle of so many crises affecting the global system and the nature.
Within the new pooled financing system over the last 5 years, Samoa and the other 3 nations that we serve from here managed to secure resources in all of the rounds put forward by the joint SDG fund, an instrument created to support joint programming, as we all know. Samoa mobilized funds to build social protection floors in Samoa, Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau, developed the first integrated national financing framework to map out and establish an optimal financing architecture to support the country's development strategy, map ecosystem services and evaluate natural capital to diversify growth and improve that sustainability, and most recently to redesign the food systems. I just want to say, Pasta, that some of the colleagues in this room share that other countries where the UN is present would have 1 or maximum 2 joint programs. So I'm very pleased to share that Samoa was successful, has been successful in all of the rounds and mobilized a significant amount of funds. The highly innovative implementation of the Spotlight, led primarily by the civil society and supported by the government, brought Samoa the recognition on the global stage a few weeks ago at the Spotlight Symposium in Cancun, Mexico, where the program received, as you know, the Leaving No One Behind award, which is obviously one of the most impressive recognition that a country could receive through the implementation of the Spotlight. And this is the first time I speak about the Global Award in Cancun, and I don't feel like crying, so I think most of us cried of joy and happiness that Samoa had such a great recognition in Cancun. As you may remember, we launched the program in early 2019 with 50 million euros for the entire Pacific, including Papua New Guinea and Timor-Leste, and Samoa and Vanuatu received resources as well. So allow me in this very formal setting to provide our congratulations to the government, to the Civil Society National Reference Group for having received this great recognition, for the commitment invested into ending violence, domestic violence and human suffering in country. I also wish to commend the government of Samoa, the National University of Samoa, and all of the partners we have, the technology partners, for the establishment of the first digital library, the lifelong learning platform, and the open research platform within the Samoa Knowledge Society initiative, a joint program funded by the UN India Development Partnership Fund. The Women in Leadership in Samoa, the first program we launched together with Honorable Prime Minister Matafa in 2018, has also contributed to elevating the social standing of women everywhere in Samoa, deep in the village, while promoting greater participation of women in business and in the public and political space in country. We look forward, Pasta, to working together for a second phase of the Wales. I will not go into details on that, that's a long story, but hopefully we will be able to have continuity in women in leadership in Samoa. There is so much more that happened over the last years under the Pacific Strategy and outside the Pacific Strategy, and let me acknowledge the great support that UNICEF and WHO provided in the response to the measles crisis, in the response to the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. That again complemented the efforts made by the government to access vaccines, and also created entry points for partners to provide more support. We also achieved together, and with great work done by the government, the submission of the second voluntary national review. Pastor, you mentioned that. That was in July 2020. Samoa was, I believe, the first country to have submitted a VNR ever, which was in 2016, immediately after the adoption of the 2030 agenda, in which the government put forward the strategy that they will employ into the pursuit.
The cooperation presented the tools for planning, implementation, and monitoring of the development activities of the UN in Samoa, Niue, and Tokelau. Taulogologo for your TV2 News.
In other news, let's have a look at some of the continuous community programs by Samoa Victim Support in partnership with UNICEF. With more on this report.
Responding with positive discipline, parenting, and cyberbullying were the focus of the dialogue amongst the parents and children of Taulogologo Village as part of Model 6. This project by Samoa Victim Support Group is funded by UNICEF. Sebastian Sato testified he has been hearing and seeing lots of insulting messages, mean comments, and humiliating posts on Facebook that make other people feel down and scared, but it didn't cross his mind that it's a serious matter. He stated he thought it is normal to post on social media those kinds of reactions, but that is cyberbullying. The activities presentations delivered helped with their basic knowledge. Towards the end of the session, they were able to come up with the appropriate non-violent strategies to solve cyberbullying and for the positive discipline parenting. According to Fiasili Maposua, a healthy talk with the children establishes an understanding about the things the parents or the children are not aware of. Sometimes we adults never know where we are wrong at. Through a peaceful conversation as part of a positive response, then our children could be opened up and parents will clarify their own reasons while peace is kept. In the evaluation, the team found out that the majority of the parents do need more awareness programs like this. They believe it will provide them time to adjust to other alternatives to deal with children instead of anger. Lefana for your TV2 News.
And that is the conclusion of your TV2 News for tonight. Special acknowledgements to the Samoa Water Authority for supporting your TV2 News. Male fai unga le na lau Samoa Taulogologo le nei tula o le afiafi, pawtail po le ngal suavai, o langalango ina o lau Samoa Taulogologo. Ai manuia wha sausau ngala afiafi, tau wha soifua.